Hi guys, here's our second video in our DCA Algo series. This video focuses on setting up your DCA Algo, DCA Grid bot, utilizing the GoodCrypto trading terminal, right? So all the settings are relevant to GoodCrypto. This video won't focus much on strategy. We'll touch upon it a bit, but that's a topic for subsequent videos. Today we're going to go through the setup form of the DCA Algo and look at all the fields and see what you can do with them, why they're there, what options do you have. Two disclaimers. First, depending on when you're watching this video, the interface of your terminal might look a bit different. For example, even now, I'm showing a couple of features which are not yet available in production. They're coming in the next release. And of course, obviously, we will continue to develop our bot. We'll add a lot more functionality. So if you're watching this video, say 6 months from now or 12 months from now, chances are there will be some settings, some fields that are not present yet or are not covered by this video. I'll mention some of them which we're planning to implement in this video as well, but as we release new features which are not covered there will be a separate video covering them. So anyway, this video is a basic video which covers 80% of the settings, even if you're watching this a couple of years from now. For settings which are not present here, look for another video in the same under the same playlist of DCA Algo, DCA Bot on our channel. Okay, let's start. I'm having here on my screen pulled up DCA setup form on the KX APUSDT perpetual futures. Okay, let's go top down and see what we can see here. So first choice you have to make is to choose whether you will be running this bot based on signals or in auto mode or manually, right? So basically, what's the difference? The difference is that if you choose a manual mode, the bot will enter the positions by utilizing the orders that you set up manually. Right now, it's a market-only order. In the future, there will be all the order types that we support: limit, trailing stop, stop limit, stop market, what have you. Anyways, the difference is that if it's manual mode, then the entry order is set up manually by you. So you decide when and how it enters. If you choose signal mode, that means that the algo will receive some signal, and once it receives it, it will automatically enter that moment. Right now, as of this first iteration of our bot, we support TA signals, which stands for Technical Analysis Summary Signals. Basically, this is a tool originally developed by TradingView. Basically, what it is, you can just scroll down below and see in detail, because we have our tab here, which is called actually Signals, and by default it's on this screen. So you can see what the signals are like. I've covered them in a previous video as well, but if you didn't watch it, just quickly, there's basically a signal that looks at 25, I think, different technical indicators. So there are moving averages, right, around 15 of them, and another 10 or so oscillators. And basically, there are signals generated by or ratings, right? Buy or sell or neutral ratings generated by each of those technical indicators. And then basically what we do, we do a summary rating, which takes into account all those signals, individual signals, and comes up with either a neutral, a buy, a sell, or a strong sell, or a strong buy, or a strong sell signal. So right now, what you can see is there is a strong buy here by the moving averages, but oscillators are neutral. So overall, it's on the border between buy and strong buy, right? So that's where we are. So these are the signals which are used right now for the bot. There will be another separate video dedicated just to these signals, how to use them, and what's the best strategy to utilize them. But in short, it's a very powerful feature. Have, as of now, for example, I'm running a couple of bots for a couple of weeks now. There are bots that are now on their like over 100. So they made like, okay, I'm running around 25 bots. Out of those, 5 made over 100 iterations. That means they hit over 100 times take profits in a row in the last week, right? So obviously there is a reason these signals are done first in our app, and there is a reason they're so popular in TradingView and some other apps, because obviously it's not pure luck. You know, if you hit 150 times take profit in a row, it cannot be explained by pure luck. Obviously, the signals, there is a signal there. So the question is how to utilize them. What's the best strategy? That's the separate question. However, these are the signals that we started. So right now we support these technical analysis signals. Coming in the future, here will be other signals. So you'll be able to basically utilize any technical indicator or combination of them as a signal for your bot to enter, or such things as, let's say, some smart logic, for example, say some coin drops by a certain percentage during the certain amount of time, then enter either a long or short position. So some kind of those things. Anyway, all those signals, whatever they may be, they will be here. They will live under the signal option, right? So there will be always 2 modes, basically manual mode, where you tell us, I want this DCA to start this type of position with this order, and signal mode, where you would choose some signal or combination of them, and basically the algo will enter automatically based on those signals, right? So let's go a step back. So if you've chosen, say, manual mode, right here. So if you've chosen manual mode, then the next step for you will be, as I said, right now we only support market orders, so you don't have to choose actually any other parameters of your order. It will be market order. All you have to choose is whether it will be a sell order or a buy order. So basically, will you be running a long bot or a short bot? Will you initially open a short position with a sell order or a long position with a buy order? Obviously, if there will be limit orders or some other order types, you will have to set up other parameters in those orders as well. For now, it's pretty straightforward, either buy or sell, and it will be executed immediately, right? So once you hit launch, if you've chosen manual buy order, then market buy order will be sent to the exchange. If you've chosen manual sell order, then market sell order will be sent to the exchange the moment you hit the launch button. Okay, so that's pretty simple and pretty straightforward for manual right now. Let's move to signals. Obviously, if you choose signals, you won't have to choose the site. The site will be chosen automatically by the bot based on the signal that you receive. So you choose the signal, then the bot decides whether to send a buy or sell order, right? So, okay. So first, TA periods. So those are the periods of TA signals that you will rely on, right? So you know, those signals and technical indicators, they're based on candles. So basically, that's the candle resolution that those signals are based on. So you can go from very small resolution, from 1 minute candles to basically 1 day candles, right? Those periods or those candle resolutions are pretty much the same that you have here, right? Here you have a bit more of those. We don't offer that many within the bot, just the main ones. But anyway, basically, so 1 minute here. So if you want to see what the 1 minute signal is right now, you can just basically look here, you see how it performs, see what's going on 5 minutes, right? And check what's going on 1 day right now. And basically, those are their TA periods or candle resolutions that those signals will be based upon that you can choose, right? So what's the logic behind them, or what you how should you think about them? So obviously, as with any technical indicator, signals or indicators based on shorter time frames, on shorter or smaller candle resolutions, say on 1-minute candles and 5-minute candles. Those candles, they produce more signals, but also more noise. So you will get the signals more frequently, but their strength, so to say, or their quality, so to say, supposedly will be lower than the signals produced on the higher candle resolutions on our longer time frames. That's kind of the theory behind this. Whether it is really the case, it's debatable, but that's kind of how you initially should think about the choosing the smaller candle resolutions or higher candle resolutions, right? So to say, just to give you a kind of a feel of it, if you choose, say, 1-minute or 5-minute candles, those are the signals or the candles you want to trade on to catch basically price swings of 0.5%, 1%, 2%. So basically, you would think something that you basically enter and your take profit will be in the region of between 0.5% to maybe 2 or maybe a maximum of 3%. So there are kind of small price swings you want to catch with these smaller periods or small candle resolutions, and obviously even given that the DCA bot will have some additional orders to protect you if the price goes against you. So they're kind of the price range that your averaging orders would cover usually would not, it depends obviously on you or how many you set up, but with thinking about their smaller candles, you would think about their price range of maybe 5 to 10%. So you will be looking to run the bot on some instrument that basically has price swings of not, or you want to catch the price swings of not more than 5 to 10%, and your basically take profit will be set at something like 0.5%, 1%, 2%. So those small price movement, right? If you go or you decide to choose the larger time frames, larger candle resolutions, high candle resolutions, that's a bit different. So you would probably trade in price swings of say 5 to 10%. So your take profit would be in the region of 5%, 10%, something like that, maybe even 15%, right? And the price range that you will cover with average orders probably would be around between 10 and 30%, right? So with these guys, with 1 and 5 minutes, basically you want to trade intraday bots with small swings. We just have to have enough average orders to protect the downside, right? With the larger candles, you would be trading things like, I don't know, maybe I want to buy Bitcoin at 20,000 and then, or buy Bitcoin now and buy additional Bitcoin when every time the price falls by, I don't know, 5 or 10%, and then sell it when it goes up by another 10% or 15%. This is the region of those are the candles you'll be looking for. If you're thinking about, I want to buy Bitcoin and then sell it when it goes higher, 0.5% to 1%, and basically buy more if every time the price falls by 1% to 2%. Those are the candles that you're looking for. Okay, enough of that. I think I'm repeating myself. Let's move to the next. Next idea is that you not only can choose one period, you can actually choose a couple of them, right? Or more of them. So if you choose several of them, basically what you're telling the algorithm is to start when there is a signal on both 1 minute and 5 minutes. That's how the algorithm will perceive it. It's not either 1 minute or 5 minute signal. No. If you choose, for example, these two, then the algorithm will enter when it sees your chosen signal on both 1 minute candle resolution and 5-minute candle resolution. So basically you can choose, you can choose all of them. Your bot will probably trade less, but the signal will be very, very strong, right? But I'm not sure that's the good idea. All right. So, for example, you can another thing to think of, even if you're trading on longer candles, for example, on 2-hour candles, you might wanna not just choose the 2 hours candle, but also add say 1 minute to it. So the 2-hour signal would give you basically will turn up when there is a general market direction change. So bear market, local bear market changed by bull market. Those are kind of the price swings that the 2-hour candles would catch. But then if you add 1 minute in the mix, it will basically help the algo enter in the exact minute when actually, there is like on a smaller time frame, you see the price is going in the direction you want. So, I mean, it's not necessary to do that, but in some cases, that could help the performance of your algorithm to add a smaller time frame to a higher time frame. Okay. Enough of that. The only other thing I would say is that, for example, my personal favorite, I don't have patience or to run the bots on the higher time frames. So my preferred setup is basically 1 minute plus 5 minutes. For my strategy, that works pretty good, but all the trading strategies and trading ideas are different. So for you, it might be completely different. Just try and see for yourself, right? Okay, moving on. Once you've chosen the time frame, for example, I've chosen 1 minute and 5 minute candle resolutions. You actually have to tell the bot which signals to detect. As we've seen previously, there are basically here, basically neutral is not a signal, right? So there could be only basically a sell signal, which is here, a buy signal, which is here, or a strong buy, which is here, or a strong sell, which is here, right? So that's what you can do. So you can either choose a weaker signal, which is buy or sell, or you can choose a stronger signal, which is strong buy or strong sell, right? Or you can, actually, there is no real point of choosing both of them, because if you've chosen buy, then strong buy obviously it's like included in the buy. So for the signal to come to the strong buy, it has to pass through the buy, so the buy would trigger before that. So basically, you're either choosing the weaker signals or the stronger signals. Again, you can play with the combinations. For example, you can obviously, when I trade on the smaller candle resolutions, I only choose strong buy and strong sell. I never use buy and sell because I mean these candles produce a lot of signals, so I want them to be actually strong. I don't want to get too much noise. If I were to say to trade on 2-hour candles, especially of things like 1-day candles, I would go with buy and sell, because on those candles, usually the buy or sell signal is pretty strong, and strong buy or strong sell only appears. It doesn't appear really often, and it only appears when the market is, already there, moving in some direction. Probably, for my taste, that would be too late to enter. So, right, so I would rather enter earlier. So I would use strong buy and strong sell for smaller time frames, and buy and sell for higher time frames. But that's me. Okay. Obviously, as I told you before, this is auto mode, so depending on what you choose, if you choose just the strong sell or sell, right? So when the signal is received, the bot will enter short position. If you choose buy or strong buy, once the signal is received, the bot will actually enter long position. If you choose both of them, for example, like I do, strong buy and strong sell, then the bot will enter a position depending on which one it will receive. If the strong buy is received, then it will enter long position. If strong sell is received, then it will enter short position. That actually is for example, it's my preferred setup. I obviously, I don't want to predict the direction the market will go, and that's not what I'm here for. And I want to actually profit from both the directional movements up and down. That's why I want to use both strong buy and strong sell. And actually, that's another reason I am using. I usually trade derivatives apart from leverage, is that it's very easy to utilize just, for example, USDT and trade both buy and sell signals, because whereas on spot you will have to, for example, to utilize strong sell signal, you'll have to buy the coins, the base currencies, actually to have something to sell before you run the bot. And that's not really convenient. So I like 99% of the time I prefer run DCA bots on derivatives. Even if you don't want to use leverage, okay, you can choose 1x leverage. Still, derivatives give you this flexibility of easily using strong buy and strong sell, utilizing just basically single type of currency. Okay, that's pretty much settled. And you can see with the DCA signal mode, start with is set to auto. You cannot choose a buy or sell order, it will be chosen automatically. We've covered that already. Let's move actually on to the first number field, which is called the entry order size. I believe this is self-explanatory, right? So that's the size of the first order that the algorithm would use to enter the position. So if you look here on the, let me just simplify it by choosing just strong buy signal, so we can only see one side of DCA. It's easier to grasp on chart. So you can see here is my entry order. It's called enter, right? So this blue line here denotes the point at which it will enter. Of course, given that it's not a manual, it's a DCA signal, we don't know the exact point where it will actually enter. But okay, for simplicity, let's say we're doing manual buy. Now it's clear. So once I hit launch, it will enter here, basically set the market order, send the market order, the market price, which is right now here. So here's my entry level. So the size of this order, which will be either buy or sell that you decide, or the DCA signal decides, that's the size that you choose here. Right? So there is one basically rule, one important thing to remember about the entry size. So we protect you from most of the situations, right? For example, if you just kind of have an empty field here and you just click plus, we look into the symbology of the exchange and give you the smallest possible order size. So like you won't send it like with the order size which is less than mean size or mean cost of the exchange. However, having said that, there's a very important caveat here. If you are trading on spot on derivatives, like 99% of the time, you don't want to trade with the smallest order size that the exchange allows. The reason for that is that spot exchanges, they actually have, usually they have two, not only spot, but okay, let's look at spot. So on spot exchanges, there are two things that the exchange looks upon. There's mean size, mean order size. So basically their amount, their size of the order in so to say in coins. So if you're trading in trading BTC USDT on spot, so mean order size will denote how many BTCs, like, right? So what's BTC number, the lowest BTC number there could be in the order. But there is a second parameter which is called mean cost. Basically, the exchange will also check the value the total value of the order in quoted currency. So for BTC USDT in USDT. So for example, if the mean order size was 0.001 BTC and the mean cost, let's say, was $10, the exchange would check when you send the order both that it's the amount of the order is higher, is equal or higher 0.001 BTC, but also that their value of 0.001 BTC is more than $10. Only then and only then the order actually will go through to the exchange. What can happen with DCA run in auto mode on spot exchange is that you send an order size which at the moment it passes both the mean size filter and mean cost filter, but as those bots, if successful, tend to run for a long time, the price can go either up and down. If price goes down enough, at some point you can find that the order size that you set and that was okay when you launched the bot, at some point it can become lower than the mean cost, right, on the exchange. For example, if you if the mean cost of the order on the exchange is say $5 and you send an order which is 5.1 or so close to $5, right? It so happened then the price goes down by 5%. You cannot actually send the order size with the same the order with the same size. So that will cause your bot at some point to just basically encounter insufficient funds error and stop. Whereas when you launched it was perfectly okay. You probably will be wondering if you do get this error. Just check first thing you have to check on spot is whether you started with the smallest order possible. So derivatives, there is no this problem because there is no mean cost. Usually there's only mean size. But again, if you are trading on spot exchange, so you don't want to trade with the smallest order size possible. I would suggest to start, even if you want just to try and see how it goes, at least double the mean size, right? Then you're gonna be safe. If it's too much for you, choose. If you want just to try the bot, choose another instrument which has lower increments, but you wanna trade on spot with at least twice mean size. Okay, enough of that. Moving on. Next field is called averaging orders. So that's the essence of DCA, which is here. So DCA stands for dollar cost averaging. It means that you basically enter the position and you dollar cost average. So you average down or up if the price goes against you. So there's the essence of the DCA, as you probably learned from our first video. If you didn't, I suggest you watch it. Is that you enter a position, and if the price goes against you, you place additional orders that basically average your position price up or down, helping you to stay helping your take profit to stay close to market price, and increasing your chances of actually hitting take profit rather than stop loss, right? So those additional orders that the DCA algo or DCA bot will place in our interface are called averaging orders. In some other interfaces, you can encounter things like safety order, for example, but it's the same thing. There are additional orders that are placed by the algorithm after their entry order is executed to protect or to average down or up your position price if the market price goes against you. So here you have to decide how many averaging orders you want to add. So the lowest number is 1. For me, as I have our highest plan on with Algo tweaks, I can place up to 20 averaging orders. So that's up for you to decide. Depends on your strategy, what you want to pursue, the size of those averaging orders, or on the distance between them. So it's up to you. Just as a rule of thumb, myself, for my strategy, I tend to use from 5 to 8, on average 7 or 8, but basically I can use from 5 to 10 averaging orders depending on the instrument, the volatility, and other parameters that they're used to. So let's stick, for example, with let me show you just a bit. Maybe on chart, maybe it will be easy to understand. But let's start with the slowest possible number, 1, right? So here you see we have the entry order here, and the entry order will be a buy order, as we know, right? From its manual buy order. So it will place a buy order here, and it will place one averaging order below the market below that order. So if I buy here and the market price goes down, there'll be another buy order. I will have higher position, but my position price will be actually lower. It will move from here to somewhere between those two lines, depending on the size of this order, right? So that's one averaging order. If I add another one, I will have 2. That's the second averaging order. Let me add 3. There are 3, and you get the idea, right? So with one averaging order right now, here I would buy here at 4.2277, and basically buy another one at 4.18. But if I add, obviously, enough of them, I will buy much lower. So again, so those are averaging orders, right? You can add as many of them as you want to, up to the limit of your subscription plan. Okay, so these are averaging orders. I don't think there is much to tell you about. The thinking behind the number of them, choosing the number of them, of course, as with most other parameters, is basically if you have more original orders, obviously have more safety, right? You are more protected on the downside. If the price moves against you, you are protected from higher price swings. However, also that means that you have more orders, you will increase your position. That means first, you will have more funds invested, right? Second, if all of those orders execute, you'll have a larger position. means your risk increase. Of course, your potential P&L also increases. Obviously, if you place just one order executes and you then hit take profit, you will earn some money. If you have two orders execute and you hit the take profit, then you will earn more. If all of your averaging orders execute and you hit take profit, which you will be probably somewhere here, you'll get, the P&L will be higher, but your risk also increases. So as with many things in trading, the trade-off is between basically profitability, safety, risk, the amount of money invested, and your strategy, the market conditions. And so as with many things in trading, it's more art than science. I just suggest you develop some rule of thumb, or you start with some number, then you see, you play around with, adding more, adding less, running them for a while, see how different perform. Then you'll get trade 1 week with DCAs. You'll basically get a feel of how many you want, which market swings can be survived with how many averaging orders. But of course, the number of averaging orders is not the only parameter that affects that. Of course, there is also the size of those orders and the distance between them. So the combination of three of them would basically determine ultimately your risk return and invested versus position risk and safety trade-offs. Okay, let's move on from averaging orders. The next field is called first averaging order size, which is also pretty much self-explanatory. Is that, let me go back to example where I had just one averaging order. So that's my entry order, that's my averaging order, whereas entry order size is here, it's one contract here, right? So it will place buy order of one contract here. Then the first averaging order size, which is now two contracts, this is the size of this order. So there will be a buy order of one contract here, there will be another buy order of two contracts placed here. Okay, so this is first averaging order size, pretty much straightforward. The only thing to know about it is that all the sizes of all other averaging orders, let me get back to, let's say, 5 averaging orders, so that we'll have these additional fields for other averaging orders as well. So the sizes of all subsequent averaging orders will be set as a multiple of the previous order starting with the first averaging. So there is a size of the first averaging order, which is 2, and then the size of the next averaging order will be set as a multiple of this size. Why we've done that is that because if you have 10 or 20 averaging orders, you won't have to basically type manually the size of each of them. You can choose one rule and we'll calculate them automatically for you, making life much easier for you, right? Okay, so that's first averaging order size. Next field is first averaging order price step. It's also pretty much straightforward. Let me go back to my one averaging order example. Entry averaging order, we've just set the size of it, of this order. Then we have to set their price step, basically the distance between the entry order and this order. So now I have first averaging order price step at 1%. So it means there is 1% price difference between those two orders. So from this level, the price has to fall by 1% and this order will be hit. If I obviously increase that to 2%, the averaging order obviously went lower. So you get the idea, right? Okay. So that's also pretty much straightforward. The only thing is to remember here, or to take note here, is that basically all the similar to first averaging order size, the price step of every other averaging order will be actually set as a percentage or a distance from this first averaging order, right? So you can choose any distance between first entry order and first averaging order, but sizes of all subsequent averaging orders will be set as a percentage of previous ones starting from this one. The reason for this, it's a topic of separate discussion. It just gives you basically more flexibility. So like if you don't understand or you don't want different different price steps here is up to you. You can set all the price distances equal. That's okay, but there are circumstances and there are trading strategies where you want this flexibility, and we basically are giving it to you, right? So that's first averaging order price step. Another thing to remember is that basically the distance at which it can be set is bound by the so-called exchange limits, right? So at least all the derivatives instruments and most of the spot instruments, they have some allowed distance of the that you can set the limit orders from the market price. All right. So let's say that then some exchanges is straightforward, and some they use very complex formula. But anyway, say the rule will sound like, at the end of the day, the rule will sound something like you cannot place limit orders on the BTC USDT perpetual swap further than 3% from the current market price, right? If you place it further, then it gets rejected with subsequent error. So basically, we look at those exchange limits, and we allow you to set the average order price step up to those limits. So you won't basically, so you won't break those rules. So so that your orders won't get rejected. You don't have to worry about that. It's just if there is this limit, then if you want to go higher than this limit, actually here I think it's 10% on this exchange. So if you go over 10%, there will be something that shows that something is not right. And if you will try to launch it, there will be actually a message saying that you've exceeded the exchange rate limit, the exchange distance limit, and it will tell you, the message will tell you what the maximum limit is. So like, don't worry about it too much. If you're gonna potentially break this rule, we'll warn you and won't allow you to do that. So okay, so that's first average order price step. Let's move to the next one, averaging orders size multiple. So okay, let me put here 1%. So remember what I told you, that if we have here entry order with some size which we set here, we have first averaging order with some size that we set here manually again, right? So here is 1, here is 2. We can set any number here and here. It's up to you to decide. However, all the subsequent orders or the subsequent averaging orders that will be placed further down. So if we have 5 of them, so apart from this one, so this order and this order, the size that you choose yourself, all other order sizes will be set as their multiple to a previous order. So the multiple, for example, here, let's start with a simple example. If the multiple is 1, that means that all the orders basically will be of equal size. So if you have first averaging order size of 2, the second averaging order will be 2 times the multiple, 2 times 1. 2 times 1 equals 2. Second averaging order will be 2. Third averaging order will be 2 times multiple times 1, again 2, and so on and so on. So if you set averaging order size multiple at 1, all your averaging orders will be of the same size. If the multiple is less than 1, the size will decrease with each order. If the multiple is more than 1, for example 2, the size will increase. So for this example, the size will double with each order, right? So let me show that actually in a more understandable fashion. Maybe for that we'll scroll down the form and we'll see immediately that there is another thing which is called orders list. By default, it's actually it's closed, but I've just opened it. Here you will see all your orders. Same here, you'll see them here on the chart, so that you can feel basically where they're placed relative to the candles. But also here you'll have much more info. You'll have their sizes. You'll have and how they increase. You'll have their percentages of their distance from the initial entry price, and actually we'll have even the prices. Well, there's indicative prices. We don't really know the entry price, so so this table basically says if we were to enter and the current market price, which is this, then all the other orders will be set here. So basically these numbers here are decided by the actual entry order price. But anyway, here we can see a lot of useful info. So we've just said that our entry order size is 1. We can see 1. Then the first averaging order size is 2. Let's see 2. And then we said the averaging order size multiple again is 2. So that means that with each subsequent averaging order, the size will increase by the factor of 2. So averaging order 1 size is 2, set manually. Then we multiply it by 2, we get averaging 2 size of 4, multiplied by 2, and the third averaging order size is 8. The next one is 16. The next one is 32, and so on and so on and so on, right? So with this multiple of 2, there is a special name for it. It's called martingale strategy. You probably heard about it, if not in the context of DCA, but in the context of, for example, roulette, or for example, of casino. You can read. There are a lot of material written on it, and even movies shot about the martingale strategy. I won't spend too much time here. It's just one of the things that I use and very effectively use with DCAs. There will be a separate video, I think, on that strategy, but certainly that's something that you might want to consider in your trading strategy with DCAs. It's a very, very powerful strategy. But anyways, so we were looking at what averaging order size multiple is, and you can see here. So if I set multiple of 1, you can see that all my averaging orders are the same size, and they're all equal to first averaging order because they're dependent on it, right? So if I set the multiple of 0.5, you see the decrease. It's 2, 1, 0.5, 0.25, 0.1, and so on, right? If I set it to 2, they increase. If I set it to 3, they increase even further. So that's averaging order size multiple for you, right? Okay. Let's go to the next. Okay, let's leave it at 2, my preferred number here, and let's move to the next field, which is averaging order price step. Now that we've basically set the relation between the sizes of our averaging orders by setting choosing the first averaging order size and choosing the averaging order size multiple, that basically defines how the size of those orders changed in relation to the first averaging. We should now do the same with order price step. As I said previously, first averaging order price step is set manually. So you remember, so this distance here between entry and first averaging order is set manually, which is this field here. But all the other sizes, actually, they depend on the previous order. So for now, we have only one session. We say we set all these distances here at equal percentage from each other, and all you have to do is basically choose this percentage. So if you say that the averaging order price step is 1%, right? So 1% means that the distance between all those orders is 1%. So basically, the orders will be placed every 1% of the price change. Obviously, we have 1% now here and here and here, so they're the same. Let's change the averaging order price step to, for example, 1.5. So they will increase. And now I immediately see that this is the distance between entry and first averaging is actually smaller. It's because we set it at 1%. But we've just set the distance between all other averaging orders and 1.5%. So we can see, even eyeball, that this distance is higher than this one, and they're equal between each other, right? In the future, we'll probably add another setting here that will actually allow you not only to either to set the averaging orders at equal distance, or maybe you want the distance to increase with each new order, or maybe you want it to decrease in each order. So there will be another basically multiple here. What we decided at the beginning, not to overcomplicate the setup. We will overcomplicate it a bit later, because that actually is something that also can be used by some traders quite profitably, and you want as much flexibility at the end of the day as you want. Okay, but for now, forget about all that. Average orders price step denotes their price distance between each averaging order except for first one. So again, the distance between entry order and first averaging is set separately, and then you just choose a percentage between all those orders. So those orders are set at and the equal percentage from each other. And let's turn back to our orders list. Now you can see actually here the percentages shown here are the actual percentage from the entry price, right? So basically you've set this 1.5% here, and we recalculated and show you that with your chosen setup, you set okay, the buy percent, the entry price is obviously at 0% from itself. We've set first averaging order price step at 1% here. Here is so first averaging order will be at 1% lower than the entry price, and then we've said that each subsequent order will be placed price falls further 1.5% here. And if we recalculate, basically you can see that if we entered here, the price fell 1%, there will be one first averaging order. If price fell 2.44%, there will be second averaging order 3.95. That's the third one, blah, 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 right? So why you would need that? Why do you use this? Because if you set some, for example, large number of averaging orders, say 9 of them, and some obscure price step of, I don't know, 2.3%, even for the most mathematical minds out there, it might be not that easy to calculate or eyeball easily how the price will change. Basically, like, can you eyeball really what actually the price range that you've covered? Like, what's the price change between here and here? Is it a lot? Is it, I don't know, is it feasible? Is it not? So one way to check whether this distance is reasonable is to switch to higher candle resolutions here. For example, say, okay, that looking 1 minute, 15 minutes, that seems that this range is very high, right? You don't need actual those orders because price on 15-minute candles doesn't seem to move that much. Let's check what's going on 1 hour candles. Yeah, okay, I can dig it, but obviously probably too many, still too large of a distance. Okay, maybe let's move it 1 day. Okay, and 1 day, basically you can see now that, yeah, it looks like eyeballing, for example, this move. So at least there was at least 1 day, not that long ago, there was another one here, basically where the price move during the day actually covered probably more than that, right? So yeah, so one way is to eyeball it here, but then there is actually a mathematical way to see what that is. You can see actually that your ninth averaging order will be here at 17.82% from the entry order price. So that means basically you just covered your price range of 17.82%. So if the price falls within this amount, 17.82, then you're covered. Basically, you have you're protected with the averaging orders. If it falls more, then you are on your own, right? Okay, so you choose the averaging order price step here. You eyeball it on the chart here. I know that current operation doesn't have this yet, but believe me, very soon comes another one where this will be there. And orders list, you check how large that range is, but it's reasonable enough or not. I mean, 18% sounds reasonable for most, or not even, actually, okay, with range, we'll go back to the range, whether it's reasonable or not, because it's not only about the price range that you've covered with averaging orders, but also about the how far you take profit is, because this basically shows you which move straight down you can survive, but the price rarely goes right like this, like just down. Probably it goes down, then up a bit, then down, then up a bit, then down, then up a bit, then blah, blah, blah. So, right, so you can, if you have your take profit tight enough, then even within maybe somewhere here, you just caught a small move up, your take profit hit, you didn't need all those orders, right? So it's not only about the price range, but also that you cover the average order, but also about the how far that your take profit is from a market price. So basically, so that once the price moves in some direction, how large of a swings back you need to catch for your take profit to hit. Right? I'll explain it later again when we go to take profit, which is actually okay, we are already at take profit. So perfect timing, right? So next field is actually take profit. Now let me just go a little back. So again, with this price range, you set up the number of averaging orders and set up the price tab between them. So you've defined basically that you have covered around 18% of price range with those orders. But okay, you can eyeball that here. It's probably it's okay, but whether this range is higher than this candle or this candle, how do you do that? So it's actually easy here. You just take your entry order and you move it here. Right now, moving your entry order here doesn't do anything because either it's manual mode and anyway there will be market order sent there. So this is, or if it's TA signal mode, then the market order will be sent when the signal is hit. So moving your entry price here on the chart doesn't actually change any parameters of the bot. It's just here for you to actually to see whether your settings are good enough for longer time frames, right? So we can immediately here. So if your price was here or here, and you especially if you were at the beginning of this candle, yep. So your range would easily cover that candle. You'll be okay here with this candle, with the green candle here. Same here. You pretty much cover this candle. So that, to me, at least looks like a decent, good range. You probably won't need much more of that. Okay, let's maybe triple check on 1 week candles, which is crazy in of itself. But I mean, even with 1 week candles, look, I don't think, okay, there was 1 week here where there was a larger move, but look, how many weeks will be more than enough? I mean, if your DCA was here for that many weeks, you'll be okay, and we'll catch one stop loss here, another like half a year of profitable trading, you'll be okay. You don't want to overextend your range because otherwise you'll lock up a lot of money in the orders that will just sit there. Okay, so that's about the average orders price steps. Let's move back to 15-minute candles. Let's move our entry order price back to candles here, and maybe okay, less averaging orders with smaller distance so they can actually see something in the chart. Let's go back to 1%. Okay, now it looks like a chart again. Let's move on to the next field, which is take profit. Everybody knows take profits. Everybody loves take profits. There is not that much about special about take profits in DCAs, but there is some. So let's look at it. Obviously, first, at the moment, you always have to have a take profit. There are actually, I can think of scenarios where you don't want to take profit. For example, when you want to use DCA not to actually to make money, but actually as an exit strategy. So you have some coins and you just basically want to sell it with DCA orders, but without, so you don't want to buy it back, so you don't need to profit at that time. But for that we'll actually build a special tool, basically an exit tool if you can connect to a position. So that's why we always require for you to set a take profit on DCA. So take profit is set as a percentage. Obviously, it's a percentage from your average position price. So if you're talking about the entry order, you entered, you executed one order, your position price is the price of the execution of that order. That 1% means that basically if the price moves 1% from there, the take profit will be hit, right? So with one order, it's quite easy. But with several original orders, it gets a bit tricky, right? So once you hit this order again, you take profit, which is set here, for example, at 1%, right? It's set at 1%. Okay, it's set at 1%. Your entry price here your position price, average position price is this price, and then that's 1% of the take profit. If your first average order executes, your average position price will be between those actually two, somewhere here. So what will happen then? Your take profit will automatically move lower to stay at your chosen percentage, which is at this moment is 1%. So it was at 1% from the entry order price. Once second order executes, your position price will be between those two orders, and the take profit will move lower to stay within 1% from that average position price. Again, right? And obviously the size of the take profit will change. So if you bought one contract here and you bought two contracts here, so once this second order executes, the take profit will move lower to stay within 1% from the average position price, and the size of take profit will change from 1 to 3. If another average order executes, again, take profit will move lower, and its size will change to reflect the increased position, and so on, all the way down. So that's the beauty of DCA. Besides having the average orders, the automation of take profit. I know that many of you probably think, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, manually, and that's basically the whole point behind DCA is to automate what you already do manually. It's a lot of headache if you have 10 orders here to always cancel and move your take profit. Will do it for you. So your take profit will move again with the average price as your average orders execute, right? So that's kind of easy. What is not easy is to understand that even though you set your take profit within 1%, that is 1% from the average position price. But remember that if your first order executed, your average position price will be equal to it. But if your second order or first average order executed, your position price will be higher somewhere here. But the market price at that moment will be already here, right, where the order executed. So whereas your take profit will move lower to stay within 1% of average position price, the distance between take profit and the market price, which is already here, will be actually higher than 1%, right? Same will repeat with each new average order. Yes, your take profit will keep coming down to stay within 1% of your average position price, but your actual market price will get lower and lower still, and actually the distance between take profit and the market price will increase with each averaging order. No matter which settings you choose. I mean, you can choose extreme settings where to minimize that increase, but it will happen. And that will affect your chances of catching your take profit, obviously, because if your market price is here and you're just 1% from market price, you only need the price to swing back 1% to catch your take profit. But if your market price moved here and your take profit moved lower, that it's probably now, let's say, at 1.1% already from the market price. Now you need to swing back 1.1% to catch your take profit, and so on and goes. That's not very intuitive. Those numbers are not very intuitive because there is a lot of variables, there are a lot of moving parts that come in to calculate the percentage. That's why we've got you covered. We've actually built a cheat sheet here. Don't worry. Yes, I know your first question. Yes, the link is in the description of this video, so it's accessible to anyone. You cannot edit it, but you can actually comment if you have some questions on it. What you can do, you can actually go to File and you can make a copy. That's the easiest one. You can actually download it as an Excel file. All the formulas will stay there, but you can make a copy. So that's a cheat sheet which we've developed and which we'll update it. I'll try to put here many more parameters that we cannot really all squeeze in this order form. We would like to have it, why not have it this all in order form? But look, our order form is already frankly enormous, especially with the orders list, right? If I add all these to order form, it won't be readable. So we're still thinking how to make the user experience, workable with all these numbers, because they're quite useful. But for now, this is the cheat sheet. Copy it to your Google Drive and use it. So here you will see it's quite easy to understand, right? So there are input fields which you can change. So you basically that's your the parameters that we've just chosen when we were setting up here the algorithm. All the gray fields are calculated, so don't change them. So once you've changed any green cell here and green parameter, the whole thing will recalculate. And we have a separate table for buy orders, so basically when you enter long position, and sell orders when they enter short position. So let me go a step back and repeat what I've just told about the take profit. So remember, we're here, we've set take profit. Let's look actually. We've set a take profit at 1%. Yep, 1%. Here, take profit 1%. Averaging orders steps. It's set, okay. I didn't overcomplicate the cheat sheet, so we don't have this first different like averaging order, because that will be overcomplication. So let's just say that all the averaging order price steps, let's say, set at 2% from each other. So first averaging order is set at 2% from entry price, and then all other averaging order price steps are set at 2%. It's here, right? We have 2% here. So we have 2% between each order. You can see here. Okay, if we go back to 10 averaging or 9 averaging orders to the previous example with 2% between them, that's what we cover, 16.63. And okay, let's go back. So take profit. Initially, we've set it at 1%, right? So take profit is at 1% of the market price. So your entry order hits, let's say the price is here, 10,000, whatever. You can, again, change it to current market price of the instrument you want to trade to see what's going on. But let's say we trade some instrument, some magical instrument, which trades now at 10,000 for one magical instrument. So if it's have a take profit at 1% from the average position price, we execute order at 10,000. We have position size with order size of 1. We have position size of 1, and position VWAP, or volume weighted average price, or the average position price is just more scientific name for it. So it's actually right. So average position price, it takes into account both the price of the executed orders and the size of them. Obviously, we bought one magical instrument at 10,000. Our position price is 10,000, and as our take profit is 1% from that price, it's at 10,100, and the distance between 10,100 and where our take profit is and our average position price of 10,000 is exactly 1%, because we set it at 1%. Easy. Okay, but now let's look at what happens if our first averaging order executes. So we execute first averaging order at 2% lower. So averaging order steps is 2% lower. So it executes at 9,800. It executes, we have an order size multiple of 2, right? So each new order will be twice the size of the previous one. So this order size is 2. Now our position size is actually 3, because we bought one magical instrument here and another 2 here. So now we have 3 magical instruments. And their average position price, or position VWAP, is actually weighted average. It's $9,866.7. And now our take profit is at 1% from this price. This is the 1% distance from this price. But remember, so now our position price is now here, 9,866, but our market price is actually lower, because remember, we are at the point where first averaging order executed. So market price is actually here, 9,800. And that means, and the position price is, average position price is a bit higher. Take profit is higher still at 1% from this price. So if you measure the distance now between the take profit price and the market price, it's not 1%, it's 1.69%, right? That's what I was talking about. So with each averaging order, the distance between your take profit and the market price actually increases. And you can see what's going on with each new averaging orders. Place 10 of them with these parameters, and you're looking at take profit, which started to be at 1% from the market price. By the time this order executes, you'll be at 3%. Obviously, this increase, with progression, it actually slows down, but it's still quite significant. Okay, so this you have to understand. So if you are setting up your DCA and initially after first order executes, you need the market price and you have a take profit of 1%. Initially, you only need a 1% price swing in your direction to catch a take profit. With each new order, that the size of the price swing that you need to catch your take profit actually increases. That's why that's one of the trade-offs you have to make, because you want, on the one hand, you have to have more averaging orders to protect you on the downside, but then with each averaging order is gonna become harder and harder, or you will need a higher price swing to hit your take profit. So the risk actually increases here because your take profit is now farther from the market price, and you have to understand that. And here you can play and see how actually how this distance is influenced by the parameters that you've chosen. So okay, obviously changing the take profit percentage doesn't do much, because if you even move it closer and place it at 0.5%, I mean, this distance still increases. It goes from 0.5% to 2.58. So you might as well start with 1%, which goes to 3, right? Obviously, what influences it first is the average orders price step. Here, actually, the farther, like the higher is the distance between averaging orders, the slower is the increase, actually. I mean, obviously, it's higher in absolute numbers, and relative numbers, it actually slows down, because now you help in your average position price to stay closer to the market price. And obviously, with average size multiple, actually, I might be wrong. I'm sorry. I'm taking back my previous statement. I'm not sure whether the pace decreases with the pace of increase of this number decreases with average orders price steps increase. I'm not sure about that. But with average size multiple, obviously, if you go higher, this price increase actually slows down, right? So now you only increase from 1% to 2% because each new order is way higher or way larger than the previous one. So it basically pulls your position size closer to the market price, right? So this average size multiple of 3, if you start with take profit, which was at 1% from market price, by the 10th average, and it will only go up to 2%, as opposed to 3% when the average size multiple was 2. Right. However, with every size of multiple of 3, I mean, the progression is crazy. You gotta have a very, very large account balance to basically to withstand that number of averaging. Right. So it triples with each level. So yeah, you might be okay here, but I mean, no matter how low, even if you start with just $1, right, you have a order size of $59,000 by the time you hit a 10th average. So probably that would work. Okay, actually, yeah, with average order price steps, it's actually the opposite of what I told at the beginning, right? So if the average order price step increases, so from 1% to 3%, for example, actually it's not there. This number, its increase doesn't slow down; it actually accelerates. So now you've gone from 1% to 4%, as opposed to from 1% to 3%, right? So placing average orders farther from each other actually accelerates this increase. Increasing the size multiple, it's actually decelerates it. So again, very difficult trade-offs, more art and science. Can't make the trade-offs for you. Decide for yourself. Okay, again, this is cheat sheet. It's there online. The link is in the description. Use it, make a copy, file, copy, use it. Come back from time to time, and we might add some new parameters. So for example, we started just with this. I've recently added those 3 columns. We'll touch upon them. Probably I'll think something else and add it here later as well. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to our example. So we were here at Take Profit. So we basically covered how it works. We know that you set it as a percentage of your average position price, and as each new averaging order is executed, the take profit automatically move closer to you to maintain the same distance from your average position price, and the size of the take profit is automatically adjusted to reflect the size of your position, which increases with each new averaging order. Okay, I think we've covered that. Let's look at some more take profit systems that we have here. First is if you're trading on spot, you won't see it, but on derivatives, you have last price or mark price or index. Basically, you can choose which price you use as a take profit trigger. If your question is, what the hell is mark price or index price? Don't worry about it. I mean, if you're trading derivatives, you do worry about it, but not here. Like, go to Google it, learn what it is. If you're really serious about trading derivatives, you might want to understand what those are. In simple words, those are the ways to smooth out the price spikes. So don't catch price spikes which do not reflect true, so to say, price change. It just happens because of the large order in that particular exchange, which happens quite often on futures exchanges. However, whether you want to use the mark price or index price as your take profit trigger, that's an open question, because for take profit, you might want to actually catch any spike you want because you want to execute. So any chance you get to execute it, you want. But again, you might think differently. That's why we give you this flexibility. Again, if you don't know what it is or you're wondering why would the hell you need it, probably you don't need it. So forget about it. Okay, let's move. Let's move to the next one. Here is the option which is called fixed take profit as percent from entry order price. What that does literally what it says, whereas I've just explained in DCA algorithm, take profit moves with each new averaging order execution to stay at the same percentage, this percentage, your chosen percentage from the average position price. If you choose this checkbox here, you've set it at 1% from the entry order. No matter how many averaging order executes, take profit will not move. It will stay here, basically, right? It will always stay here. So let's say, so it might be not 1%, maybe at 5%, just to make it easier in chart. So you set it here. If you don't check that checkbox, normally the take profit will keep moving down with every origin order execution. If you have this box checked, it will always stay here. Only its size will automatically adjust to reflect increased position. So you bought one here, one magical thing here, and another two here. The take profit will change the size from 1 to 3, but it will stay here. Okay. Why would you need it? Probably you won't. That's why we have it unchecked by default. But you can think of some situations where you do need it. We actually described one of these examples here. Actually, most of the things that I said they can found by just clicking through this. I don't know why people bother to look at those videos, at my videos. Frankly, I try to set it up so that you would actually that those explanations here will be enough. But from what I understand, that's not enough. That's why I'm making this video. Anyways, why would you want to use that? For example, imagine a situation. You're a holder, right? You want to buy Bitcoin when it gets cheaper. If it gets even more cheaper, you will buy more, but you are not prepared to sell it at any price lower than 100,000. You know, the halving is coming, 2024, another halving. Probably will, the previous all-time high was at 65K or something. Probably the next one will be over 100K. You want to wait for all-time high. So what you do, you set DCA, but at the same time, you understand that, Bitcoin is now at 28,000. Let's say it can hit 20 tomorrow, or if another large exchange blows up, it can go down up to 15 or 10,000. Then that's when you want to scoop a lot of it. You set a DCA order with levels set at, say, at 20,000, 15,000, 10,000. with increased size, right? So the cheaper Bitcoin becomes, the more you buy, and you set a take profit at some percentage that will actually, it's actually, you can set it on chart. So you just switch here. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, you just switch to another instrument, and you move take profit, say, to, I don't know, very high where you want it to stay. You just choose, if it was Bitcoin, say, let's, okay, maybe you would move it here, and you just basically uncheck this box, and take profit will stay here. So you will be buying Bitcoin, buying, and the profit will stay here. Okay, there's this checkbox. You don't need it, fine, no problem. Let's go. Actually, I've just showed you another neat trick, right? Whereas what I told you, if you just move the enter price, it doesn't affect anything in the form. It's just for you to basically put it where you want it to be, to see how it will play out if your DCA was to enter it at some particular point in the market. However, the distance between take profit and enter is actually significant. So if you move take profit here, we'll calculate this distance and put it here. You see, it's about 5.5%, so that you can actually, on the instrument, if you choose, and you can choose wherever you want, the distance you can eyeball, or maybe you can say, we can choose 1 hour candles and say, okay, if I'm here and I want to catch those things, so maybe that's the level of take profit I want to have, maybe lower like this, so we'll have more chance. So, okay, that's the level of take profit I want to have, which happens to be 2.9%. So, okay, that's how you can set take profit. Okay, enough of that. Let's take profit. We've covered that. Let's move to stop loss. Stop loss. By default, it's actually off. So it's not mandatory as take profit is. However, I can think of a very, very few situations where you don't want to use the stop loss. I mean, they can happen. That's why we don't require it. But for example, you just you are buying Bitcoin with as I just described, right? And your holder is buying Bitcoin, buying it lower, and you don't want to sell it until it hits 100K. Obviously, you cannot place averaging orders up to 0. So at some point you gotta stop. Probably your lowest averaging order will be at 10,000. But I mean, do you really want to sell your Bitcoin if it goes down to 5,000? I mean, you will run out of money to buy more at the time, but you certainly don't want to have a stop loss hit there and sell it at 5,000, right? So in this situation, you won't set a stop loss. In pretty much any other situation, you do want to set a stop loss, especially if you're trading derivatives. This is the rule that I reiterate in our every video. If you're trading derivatives, I can think of no situation that you would send ever any order or algorithm without setting a stop loss. Okay, just remember that. You don't have to believe it, you just have to do it. Okay, so stop loss, you want to choose it. As you can see here, it is set, the percentage you choose here is set as a percentage from the last averaging order. What that means, that means that we have those, okay, maybe 9, let's go back to 5 averaging orders. So your last averaging order is here. So choosing this distance of stop loss, you're choosing the distance between this last averaging order and your actual stop loss. So let me set stop loss at 5% below last averaging order here. So the distance between this last averaging order and stop loss is 5%. So if the price is here, it has to fall down another 5% to hit your stop loss. Right? Right. Okay. We have stop loss here. Basically, what I can tell you about the stop loss. So okay, so obviously you cannot you see where the stop loss will be in relation to your last average order. That's the percentage you set. You don't really know what the percentage of the stop loss from the of your initial order would be. That you can actually check in our orders list here. So you see the stop loss, you see the size of it here. which is the sum of all those orders before it, right? And you see that at this level it will be 14% below the entry price. Okay, so 14% below the entry price, fair enough. If you change it to 10%, it changes to 18% from the entry price, which is also fair enough. Let's go back to 5. But those percentages don't tell you much, because this doesn't mean you will lose 14% of your money, right? If the stop loss is at 14% from the entry price. Why? Because you actually got averaging orders. Averaging orders, they increase the position but decreases the position price. So your stop loss will be closer from the actual position price when it's hit, right? So you actually want to see how much you will actually lose from the actual money that you spend to execute all those orders. Again, you cannot see it here. Probably you should. I'm thinking about how to add it here so it won't overload the interface. But we have this cheat sheet for you. That's one of the reasons I've built it. And you can actually see all the calculations here if you need to. So as with previous example, we set just stop loss at 5%, which is 5% from the last averaging order. And you can see here that basically, whereas if there was just entry order, your stop loss will be for 5% from it, right? But with each averaging order, obviously the percentage increases. Not percentage from it, but the percentage, that's percentage of their stop loss, of this stop loss price at which stop loss will hit, and basically that's the distance between the stop loss price and your average position price at this level, right? So that means that your stop loss price, which will be if your first averaging order, if you just had one averaging order and you set a stop loss 5% below it, the stop loss price would be at 9,310. Your average position price will be at 9,866. And basically, if the stop loss is hit, you would lose 5.64% of the money, right? So it's more than obviously 5%, because the 5% is just distance from the last entry order. But as you can see, it's way less than the 14% you see here, even this 5 averaging orders, right? So with 5 averaging orders, your stop loss will be 14% below the entry price, but we will actually lose 5 averaging orders only 6.75% of your money. That's the power of averaging down. Okay, let's get back to the stop loss example. What else do you have here? Again, first, you can also, as with this take profit, you can actually change it on chart. So you can, move it, set it here, maybe at some support level. You want to set it somewhere. If the support level is broken, that okay, you want to get the hell out. So I don't know, say okay, that's art and science. I won't do it for you. It's for you to decide. My rule of thumb, I set a stop loss with my strategy at, I don't know, 5, 7, 9%, not too far from the last averaging order, so I won't lose too much money, but also not too close, because I want to actually have some leeway and allow price to fluctuate a bit, and maybe in the hope that will come back to levels that I need, but not that much. Okay, so you can set stop loss from the chart as well, and you also have this option of last mark and index price to use as stop loss trigger. And actually, in this case, that might well make sense. At least I use most often. I do use mark price as a stop loss trigger. Why? As I already told with take profit, those mark price or index price for that matter are pretty much similar. They would smooth out. They would won't be affected by sudden spikes that are created on this particular exchange that trade on. They will reflect fair global average price. So basically decreasing my chances of my stop loss triggered by some spike on this particular exchange. So the stop loss on derivatives, you actually pretty much want to use mark price as your default price, especially if you are trading some illiquid instruments or less liquid derivatives exchanges where the fluctuation between the prices or difference between the price observed on the exchange and the mark price could be very significant. So, you don't want actually you don't know which way it will deviate, so you might as well lose on using the mark price. But as a rule of thumb, I would use it on stop loss. Okay, moving on. Next option is called repeat on take profit, which what it does what it says. It repeats the cycle on take profit. By default, it's now disabled for the manual mode. The reason for that is that we only support market orders. We don't want really you to gamble, so basically we don't want you to send the market order with some averaging orders, and if the take profit is hit, immediately send another market order. We kind of protecting you from that, but once we introduce additional order types here in manual mode, obviously we will turn it on. For now, if you use CA signal or auto mode, you can actually repeat on pay. Moreover, I would say you really, if you've got your good settings, that's exactly what this DCA algo was created for. If your take profit is hit, meaning your setup is working, you want to continue doing that, and if it earns your money, you want to continue basically doing that. We don't have a repeat on stop loss yet, so basically if your algorithm ever hits a stop loss in any of the cycles, it will actually stop. We'll bring this option in the future together with probably with some another kind of stop loss on with P&L drawdown percentage. So if you turn the repeat on stop loss on, you will also say, okay, but I'm okay with one or two occasional stop losses hit. I don't want to stop the algo if it had, for example, as I told you, I have several algos that hit like 150 take profits in a row. Always they can withstand one or two take stop losses. For that algo, I didn't want to stop it if stop losses hit. But I want to be protected on the outside as well. So probably there will be a P&L drawdown thingy so that it won't stop on stop losses. The algo won't stop on stop losses, but it will stop if those stop losses cumulatively lose more than your designated amount of money, right? So again, for now we have repeat on take profit option. Once again, what it will do, I set up the TA signals here. All this is good and nice. Take profit is hit, it will basically repeat itself. Meaning, of course, as it's signal, it doesn't mean that it will automatically enter again. It might well enter at some other time. Next time, basically, it will enter next time the signal is present. So if it's 1 and 5 minutes, there is a high chance that once it exits, if the trend continues, it will pretty much will be back into market quite soon. But if you're trading on the higher candle resolutions, the time between the signals can be quite significant. So after take profit, it can wait for another signal for hours or days or even days, right? So that's repeat on take profit. Actually, for lower candle time frames, you have this option of cool down. So basically, which is says if you set cool down at 5 minutes, so that means once take profit is hit, before entering, even if their signal that you've chosen is already present, it will wait for 5 minutes first, and then look again the market whether the signal is there. So what that means, for example, we have this strong buy on 1 and 5 minutes. The market shuts up, it enters, hits the take profit immediately. Market continues to go up. Now we have to basically, so their strong buy signal is still present. It's up to you to decide what you want this algorithm to do. Jump right back into the market to try to catch another part of that move up, or actually just slow down, wait it out, and for 5 minutes or more, and catch maybe the second signal or the next signal which will appear. It's up to you to decide. Again, that's about risk management, but actually there is no science here for sure, because you don't really know whether this cooldown will help you or hurt you, because you might miss a lot of moves up. For example, in those 5 minutes, on a strong move up, for example, you have start take profit at 0.5%, and it shuts the instrument shuts up like 3%. If that thingy, the cooldown was none, the algorithm probably would enter and hit take profit 5 or 6 times, capturing most of that 3% move up. If you had a cooldown at 5 minutes, for example, it would only hit 1 take profit, then wait out for 5 minutes, and those 5 minutes that move can already be over, and you just didn't catch it. So you don't. But again, it can protect you from some false positive signals. So up to you. Personally, for me, I do not use it often, not at all, but it's here. So if you want to use it. It's up to you. It's your risk management. Okay, so that's repeat on take profit. What I didn't tell you about the take profit, this checkbox here, but it's not that important. It's more important than repeat on take profit is that this option can be changed while the algorithm is already running. So you can turn repeat on TP on or off after lunch, and you can change the cooldown. For example, you can start with cooldown. If you see that it doesn't work, you can get rid of it, or vice versa, increase it. Or, for example, you start with repeat on take profit, your algorithm runs for a while. I mean, it's profitable, but it's very slow. It only does, your good algos do, 20 cycles in 24 hours. This one does only 2 cycles. It's slow. You would rather use those money elsewhere, but you don't want to actually just stop it. And also, you wait out for next take profit. You will just switch off the repeat on take profit on already running algo. So next time it hits take profit, it actually stops, but you'll still get that nice little bump of another take profit, right? Okay. So next up is the thingy that called close position when DCA stops, which is owned by default. So this thing, but basically what it does is that obviously as DCA trades, it enters position by with entry order, then it adds with averaging orders. Those are the position of the DCA holds. That position will be closed when a take profit or a stop loss is hit, which is okay. But there are other times when the algorithm does something unexpected, when it basically stops unexpectedly. There are pretty much 2 ways it can happen. First, it hits some error. Actually, it happens more often than you think. For example, as I already described, you can get an insufficient funds error, for example, very easily if you trade on spot or with small amounts, or I don't know. There could be multiple reasons for that. But so if the error is encountered, the algorithm will stop. That's for sure. The question is whether after it stops, whether it will close automatically the position that it has or not. So by default, we want the DCA to close that position, but you can turn it off. Another reason, so it can either stop on error or you stop it manually. So if it's running and you hit stop, if this checkbox is on, this toggle is on, if it has a position after the algorithm stops, it cancels all the orders and it closes this existing position. If you uncheck it or untoggle it, it won't do that. Same with error. So whether to use it on or off, there is no right or wrong answer. Personally, as we obviously switch it on by default, we believe that it should be used here. But you could think otherwise. So basically, the idea is that if you are ever present and looking at your screen, if it's daytime, you're trading, you have your phone with you, you get push messages so you know what's going on, you might switch that off. So even if in unlikely case that error is hit, you'll get the push message, you can look at the position and decide whether you want to close it or not. But if that happens that you are already sleeping or away from your screen, and that happens, you might be left with a position that can go against you and you can lose large amount of money. So personally, I would suggest that you would basically leave it always on, because there could be times when it will close and will lose you some money, but more often than not, it will save you from losing a lot more. Okay, again, this toggle, as with previous toggle on repeat on TP, could be switched on or off on the running algo, as well. Okay, next up, this next field is position. Basically, it shows you the minimum and maximum amount of the position that the algorithm could hold. Obviously, the smallest amount is your entry order size. So if your entry order size is 2, the smallest amount of position is 2, and the largest number is basically the sum of all numbers. Okay, so that's about the position. Pretty much, you can see here, the maximum position will equal the position you see in the stop loss table, because obviously the stop loss will close your entire position, and stop loss will happen only after all the average orders execute, giving you basically the maximum position. Okay, and the next field here is approximate margin, that basically, or approximate funds needed if you trade in spot. So here we try to estimate that with your settings how much of the money you actually need to be locked in this DCA for it to work, to cover your entry order on all your averaging orders. Obviously, as I have very small entry order size, I don't need a lot, and I use leverage 20x. Obviously, that happens, if you start with $2 here, maybe, okay. Yeah, if you start here and you increase, it gets and increase the number of averaging orders. It goes up quite quickly with each averaging order, right? But obviously, so you can see here the margin needed, and on spot instruments we will show you whether you need how much you would need base and quoted currency as well, depending on whether it's a buy or sell orders that you will be executing. The important thing here to remember is that it's approximate margin, because we don't really know the exact price that your entry order will execute at. So we only can calculate, this number based on the actual market price, which is observed right now on the market. And if your DCAs are successful and they're running for a long time, the market price could deviate and could, in a couple of weeks, it could be 10 or 20% higher or lower, increasing or decreasing the margin requirements or the funds needed, depending on the price range where your DCA is trading at the moment, right? So what you want to do, obviously, you do want to leave some margin available in case the price goes up, right? Same with spot instruments. You want to have more funds than it's required to just launch it, just in case it moves against the price moves higher. Okay, last but not least, the orders list. We already covered it, right? Most of it basically shows you where the orders will be and gives you a bit more info than we just inputted here. If you have here not only buy but sell, it will change a bit, so it will show you both sides. And actually, we didn't look at it, but if you choose buy and sell, there will be both sides of DCA will be shown in the chart. It creates a bit of a mess, so for the sake of setting up, you might want to just look at one of them and then turn the second one on once you're finished. But on orders list, you'll see both buy and sell sides here. On the phone, there is less screen real estate, so we'll see less info, but with orders lists, with desktop, you will see almost all of it. Okay, so that's pretty much all the settings for DCA that we have at the moment. There will be more coming soon, but I think you've got enough on your plate already. Then you have the launch button, which is self-explanatory, right? And below it, you just see the textual description, our standard textual description as we have on all our orders, where basically you can double check or read in a textual form what you just set up. We basically show you most of the settings that we've just chosen in a verbal form, so to say, that you can see what happens here. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel. There will be more new and exciting videos coming. And once again, this was exemplified by GoodCrypto Trading Terminal. You want to check us out. We support 35 largest exchanges, have a wide selection of advanced order types and trading algos, and we have a 14 days fully featured free trial, which I urge you to take advantage of if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.